Hi, Waypoint friends. This week we are in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 8, which comes right at the conclusion of the Sermon on the Mount. And the chapter begins with two miracle stories. And in fact, the first one happens as Jesus is coming down from the mountain from where he's delivered the Sermon on the Mount. And he's confronted with a man who has leprosy. The man walks up to him and just makes a simple statement to Jesus and says, "If you're willing, you can heal me and make me clean." Jesus says, "I am willing." And he heals the man and tells him not to go about, publicizing it, but to go back to his home village and to give the offering that's customary to give to the priests as a way of giving glory to God for that. The second miracle story is a little different. Jesus goes to the city of Capernaum after coming down and finishing the Sermon on the Mount. He goes to Capernaum, and in Capernaum, we pick up with verse 5. When Jesus returned to Capernaum, a Roman officer came and pleaded with him. Most translations will say a centurion. And this was somebody who was in command of a group of 80 to 100 Roman soldiers. So a tough kind of a sergeant, lieutenant in the Roman military kind. And this Roman officer says, "Lord, my young servant lies in bed, paralyzed and in terrible pain." Jesus said, "I will come and heal him." But the officer said, "Lord, I am not worthy to have you come into my home. Just say the word from where you are, and my servant will be healed. I know this because I am under the authority of my superior officers, and I have authority over my soldiers. I only need to say, 'Go,' and they go, or 'Come,' and they come. And if I say to my slaves, 'Do this,' they do it." And Jesus responds, he looks around to the people that are standing there and says, "I have not found this kind of faith in anyone in all the nation of Israel, only with this Roman officer." And he tells the centurion, go home, your servant has been healed. It's really interesting that in both of these stories, the two guys who come to Jesus, it's not about that they not sure that he can heal them or the servant, but that he will. They are both convinced that Jesus has authority and he has the power. And in fact, the Roman soldier says, "Look, I know how this works. I know how power and authority work. I'm commanded by my superiors. I command my soldiers." And so there's authority that goes along with being able to get things done. And this Roman centurion, a key officer in the most powerful military force of his day, and not someone who was born into the worshiping of the God of Israel, but who has come to look with favor upon the Jews. In fact, in Luke's version of this episode, he sends representatives, Jewish representatives, to ask Jesus, and they tell Jesus, if anyone is deserving, it's this man, because he's a great friend of our people, and he even built us a synagogue. So this Roman soldier has come to some level of faith and understanding in the God of Israel, and especially about Jesus. This is a man who has the power and authority over the elements of nature, over demons, and over disease. All he has to do is give a command, and my servant will be healed. And Jesus says, on the basis of your belief, on the basis of your faith, it's as you've asked. Go home, your servant has been healed. It's really interesting when we come before the Lord with our needs and our burdens and our requests. It usually comes down to a couple of different sets of issues. One, it can be that we're not quite sure whether God can do what we're saying. It's almost like we're the father of the boy who was demon-possessed as Jesus was coming down another mountain, the mountain of Transfiguration, and his disciples were trying to cast the demon out of the boy, and they couldn't. And the father looks at Jesus and says, if you can do anything, please help him. And Jesus says, if I can do something, don't you believe? And the father says, I do believe, but help me with my unbelief. So sometimes we're struck with Do we believe that Jesus really can do what we ask him to do? But sometimes it's like this. Will he do what we believe that he can? And we come before him with as much of a question as a request. This Roman centurion is one of my favorite characters in all of the Bible, because here's someone who is absolutely convinced that Jesus can do what he's going to ask him to do. But he comes with an open request. It's like he's approaching one of his superior officers with a request. And his mindset is, just like the leper's was, his mindset is, I'm going to ask this, and I'm going to be proactive in asking this, but I'm not going to be presumptuous. And no could be an acceptable answer, because I too am a man under authority. I recognize that sometimes what I ask is not going to be granted, or at least not in the way that I think it will be. And I think it's really that understanding, and the understanding of the leper. If you are willing, you can heal me. Here are my needs. Here are my burdens. Here are my struggles. I place them before you, and I ask you to do something with them. But I'm not going to make any demands on you. I think that's an attitude that Jesus would actually have us cultivate. A proactive attitude that says, come to me, come to my Father with your needs and your burdens. Don't try to hide them or pretend they aren't there, but come and lay them out honestly. But come without presumption. Come not making demands, but recognizing with an open heart and an open mind. There are lots of different ways for God to answer prayers. I hope this is an encouragement to you. I hope it's a challenge to you, maybe to help you think a little bit differently as you come before the Lord to bring your needs and your questions to him. Have a terrific week.